Welcome back, guys, to Keto for Noobs. I apologize, I have been sick all this weekend, and so the non-makeup and non-fabulousness that is going on right now, that is what we're doing. I wanted to go over some keto definitions to get some learning research before, we get into recipes and things like that, because I feel like everybody needs to know the basics of what they're getting into, and so they know what the terms are for this diet / lifestyle / whatever. So I looked up. Now we've already gone over what the keto diet is, but I'm going to put up the definition. WebMD, as the definition goes, is ketogenic is a term for a low-carb diet like the Atkins diet. The idea is for you to get more calories from protein and fat and less from carbohydrates. You cut back most of the carbs that are easy to digest, like sugar, soda, pastries, and white bread. Now, of course, we already know that, because obviously we wouldn't be going into this if we didn't know. But I did want to know another one, macros. So, macro is from what we've realized from health.harvard.edu. Macro is short for macronutrient. They're the 3 categories of nutrients you eat the most, and provide you with most of your energy. It's your proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So when you're counting your macros, you're counting the grams of proteins, carbs, or fat that you're consuming. So that's something definitely people need to know. And that's how you basically calculate how many carbs you need to be having depending on what your macros calculate to, depending on your calorie count, your size, your weight, your age, everything gets calculated. And I'll link below a calculator I like to use down below, so that way you guys can just go into there and get a better idea of how many macros you need to be using to your body type, because it really makes a difference. You can't just go, oh, well, I'm just going to eat so many carbs and so many proteins and so many fats and just kind of guesswork, because it may not work for you. Everybody is different, so everybody's calculations are going to be different. And that goes to the next one, intermittent fasting. And I'm going to say that horribly nasally because, again, I am just getting over a cold. But as we look into intermittent fasting, Wikipedia, as we love to follow, says intermittent fasting, also known as intermittent energy restriction, is an umbrella term for various meal timing schedules that cycle between voluntarily fasting and non-fasting over a given period. So what that means to me is basically your window of where you're going to have your meals, and then the rest of the time, from the time you stop eating to the next day of when you're going to start again, your body is going to start, burning those calories, those carbohydrates, things that you have in between those times, and you're kind of shorten it as time goes by. But don't start out with that. Eat as many calories and things as you want in the beginning and just keep it low carb. That's always how you should start to get your body fat adapted. That's number one. Then it comes into building up to what is the term OMAD. I'm sure you've heard in many keto diets what is OMAD. And OMAD is just a abbreviation for OMAD, or 1 meal a day. And on health.com, OMAD means the 1 meal a day. The idea is to fast for 23 hours straight, and then consume 1 large meal in a 60-minute window. I like how they added this. Lately, OMAD has been gaining popularity, with people swearing by it as a weight loss method, as well as a way to tackle chronic disease and other health issues. Now, personally, I am on a 1 meal a day right now, and it's kind of working. I mean, it's more like pushing the weight number down. As far as like inches and things go, it hasn't really done anything differently as far as I'm aware. But I also think that the only reason I've really gone to the 1 meal a day is because right now I've been sick and I didn't want to eat anything. Kind of forced myself to eat something so that I didn't feel garbagey. But some people swear by it. Some people say that it really works. It pushes, you know, that little window of stalling for weight loss. So, I mean, you could try it out, test it. I wouldn't go more than a day or so of doing it and then kind of building it to what people use is like a 12-hour and then an 8-hour window of eating and then the 12-hour of fasting. So it really depends on what works for you and how your body feels, because that's what this whole entire lifestyle is about how your body feels on what you're eating, how you're eating, and in what time. And then we're going to go on to our next one. So a big one everybody likes to follow is what's called net carbs. Now, net carbs is depending by healthline.com, sorry. The term net carbs simply refers to carbs that are absorbed by the body. To calculate the net carbs in whole foods, subtract the fiber from the total number of carbs. To calculate the net carbs in processed foods, subtract the fiber and a portion of the sugar alcohols. So I like how it says that to calculate it in whole foods, because obviously whole foods, you know, don't have added sugar alcohols, don't have added ingredients. You're just gonna subtract the fiber from that. So remember, that's a difference than the processed foods. And a lot of people will argue that it's better to count the whole carbs or it's better to count the net carbs. I personally follow the net carbs. It's just easier for me. As I continue to do this, maybe after a few months, and if I see any stalls or anything that basically makes me feel that I need to push it a little differently, then maybe I'll start doing the whole carbs. But right now, the net carbs is what works. And then let's go over some smaller stuff. Bulletproof Coffee. You're going to hear this a lot in the keto diet. Healthline.com says the Bulletproof Coffee is a high-fat coffee drink intended as a breakfast replacement. A lot of people actually use Bulletproof Coffee with their breakfast to get their, what they call their fats in. A lot of people will use it as a meal replacement, like it says. I personally do not like the Bulletproof Coffee because I still haven't figured out a flavoring that I enjoy, and I actually want to do a different kinds of Bulletproof Coffee in a future video because I need to find one that I enjoy. Though I am trying to burn the fats right now, so I'm not really like crazy about adding too many fats to my diet as to where my macros are. But basically with Bulletproof Coffee, it is a good easy way to get your fats in, get it first thing in the morning, and it's nice and filling. So if you are trying to intermittent fast, there are certain Bulletproof Coffees you can do while you're fasting. And I will go over that once we do a review video, because yeah, I need to learn all about the Bulletproof Coffee things. And if you're like me, where we're like, I don't really care for that taste of the oil or the butter and the things in my coffee, I'm still working out the twinks of that. Twinks. Alright, so next, sugar alcohols, as we were seeing in the net carbs or substitutes. MyKetoCal.com states sugar alcohols are naturally occurring in fruits and vegetables and often added to foods as a reduced calorie alternative to sugar. There's Pumpkin behind me. I have a cat tail now. Adkins.com says sugar alcohols are not fully absorbed by the gut, which means they provide roughly half the calories that sugar does. Now, it obviously depends on which sugar alcohol we're talking about, because as you'll see in many videos out there, my favorite is the Keto.connect one, where they basically test all the sugar alcohols and figure out which one, because what you're trying to avoid is spiking your insulin, spiking your sugar count, so that way you're not storing fats and things like that, just like a sugar does. And as they tested it, showed that like the least sugar spiking sugar alcohol is, I'm going to say sugar like 500 times, is erythritol. That's like the number one, or monk fruit. Monk fruit's like second, I think. And then the worst is like maltodextrin. That's like a huge one, because it's like just below a sugar spike as sugar, which is insane. And it's crazy, because if you look at many sugar-free items, you'll see that this is like the number one thing that people use in their sugar-free items. And it's crazy, because I swear by some of them, and then I'm so sad, like Jell-O has maltodextrin. I was very upset about that, because I love Jell-O and I really wanted that as my sweet alternative, but apparently that can do that. But I will say that it is different for everyone. Some people do not care that much about it. I would test my sugars if I were you, to see if that really makes a difference for you, because some people could be different. You never know. Another one is bone broth. Bone broth is a big one. Bonafideprovisions.com, which I really like their email. Their website, Bonafide, because I believe they sell a bone broth. It says that bone broth is the best whole food source of glycine, a key amino acid that helps our bodies digest fat. Drinking bone broth supports your body's ability to digest fat. So I use bone broth mainly for my electrolytes, and we're going to go over that next. That is what keeps me going in between meals, and especially now that I got sick, I was like living on it. I lived on chicken bone broth, beef bone broth. It just gave me that energy I needed in between not feeling like I want to eat anything, but I don't obviously want to eat like chicken noodle soup because of the noodles, and I didn't feel like making my own chicken noodle soup. So it was like a perfect thing to get that salt in that I needed. And then that brings us to electrolytes, which is a huge one, and people need to realize that. WebMD says electrolytes are chemicals that conduct electricity when mixed with water. They regulate nerve and muscle function, hydrate the body, balance blood acidity and pressure, and help rebuild damaged tissue. The muscles and neurons are sometimes referred to as electric tissues of the body. So what I use electrolytes for, I can put them in, I have them in my smart water. I'll get some water, or I'll get, like I said, the bone broth to get my electrolytes in. I will add more salts to my foods, and this really prevents your body from losing the energy that it needs to supplement the not adding carbs to your diet, because your carbs are your energy. This kind of helps you build that water retention and things that you need, and definitely pushes back what's called the keto flu, and that's a big one. People are always asking questions about what is the keto flu, what does, how do you get it, how do I prevent it, things like that. So the keto flu by health.harvard.edu. Keto flu, the so-called keto flu, is a group of symptoms that may appear 2 to 7 days after starting a ketogenic diet. Headache, foggy brain, fatigue, irritability, nausea, difficulty sleeping, and constipation for just some of the symptoms of this condition, which is not recognized by medicine. So I've never had the keto flu, knock on wood, but what a lot of people get is a lot of irritability. I've seen in a lot of people. They basically think, like obviously the constipation I've heard a lot about, but that's prevented by your electrolytes. If you get your electrolytes in, if you are following the rules, the steps to having a healthy ketogenic diet, you won't get the keto flu because you're supplementing the type of things like a big one is potassium or magnesium. And you can get that not just from eating bananas, because you don't eat bananas on this. You can get it from your meats, your vegetables, certain things, eating more spinach, kale, mushrooms, steak, things like that will prevent you from getting the keto flu. As far as I'm aware, it worked for me. I never really had it, so I don't know, what it's like to have that. I mean, I may have, in the first day, felt a little more tired in the beginning, but then after, a day, I had, super energy, and it was insane. So I always tell everybody, keep your electrolytes up, get it in any way that you can, and it will help you do that and keep your energy up and keep you from the keto flu. And then now we're going to go on to little abbreviations a lot of people use. The big one, MCT. MCT or MCT oil that a lot of people use in their diets because they swear by it. WebMD says MCT oil is a supplement made from a type of fat called medium chain triglycerides. I'm actually proud I said that correctly. MCT molecules are smaller than those in most of the fats you eat. Long chain triglycerides. This makes them easier to digest. You can absorb MCT in your bloodstream quickly. This turns it into energy you can use. I haven't tried it yet. I just got a MCT oil or powder recently, and then I found out it had maltodextrin in it. I was very upset. So we're gonna test our blood sugars and make sure that it doesn't really spike my insulin levels. But they say that is basically how you get to your ketosis pretty fast, or keep yourself into ketosis as far as I've been reading. I'm gonna check that and see if it works for me. And then see, some people will say that it has actually gained them weight, and other people will say it's helped them lose weight. So it really depends on each person. Try it out, see if it works for you. A lot of people will put MCT oil or powder in their coffee. And that's as far as I've read so far, but we'll see. I also wanted to go into collagen peptides. Like MCT oil, I was finding in, I'm going to say this terribly wrong, but Gelita, Gelita.com. They say collagen peptides that usually go, a lot of people use this with their MCT oil, are a versatile source of protein and an important element of healthy nutrition. Their nutritional and physiological properties promote the health of bones and joints and contribute to beautiful skin. Collagen consists of 3 polypeptide chains. A lot of people say that with the MCT oil, it helps with symptoms like some people will lose hair or their nails get brittle. So they use collagen peptides or biotin to kind of supplement that. And they say that it definitely helps keeping in supplementing what you're missing out of getting rid of certain carbs and things like that. And I'll be experimenting with that as well, because I haven't had any hair loss, thank God. But we'll see. But getting back to the abbreviations, I just wanted to add that. Okay, so heavy whipping cream is what bobsredmill.com states. Also known as heavy cream, is the thick part of the milk that rises to the top due to its high fat content. With about 36 to 40% fat, it has one of the highest fat contents compared to other dairy products. Now, as you know, in the keto diet that we do a lot of fats in our things, so a lot of people will use heavy cream in their Bulletproof Coffee, in their dessert alternatives, definitely in their cooking to make a creamier dish. Heavy whipping cream is a huge staple in my house, so I have the big monster pack from Costco, and that is like a huge, I think every person who is on the keto diet should have heavy whipping cream, especially if you want to make whipped cream by yourself. That is fun. There are so many recipes, and maybe I'll make one, but I enjoy that one a lot. Now these I'm just gonna put all together. You'll see a lot of abbreviations like SW, HW, and CW. SW stands for starting weight. A lot of people will put in their starting weight as to where they're beginning on their keto diet journey if they're looking for weight loss. They'll put HW for heaviest weight, and obviously if they were been doing this diet for a long time, a lot of people will put their heaviest weight that they've ever been in their life compared to where they're starting now. And then CW is their current weight. So if, again, as you've been doing it for a while, mine starting weight was 189. My heaviest weight is the 189 because that's when I started doing this diet in the first place. It was like heartbreaking to say that because being 5'3" and being almost 200 pounds for myself is a little scary. A lot of people who have been much bigger at the same height as me and have lost over 100 pounds is really what inspired me in the first place to do this, to show that anybody can do this at any weight, any size. You know, it just depends on sticking to it, what your goals are, and what you need. And then my current weight now, I actually just weighed in at 170, and I was very excited to, like, you know, get that out and almost, you know, get to 20 pounds down. That's pretty amazing in my book. And again, the weight number, as I will always remind you, means nothing until you measure yourself. You get yourself a soft measuring tape. You can get it at Walmart, Dollar Tree. You can go to anywhere and get one and measure your body. And I'll go over that in another video. You know, get your waist size, get your belly size, get your biggest problem sizes that you find, and measure yourself. So that way, after a few months of doing this, you can see the difference. You can see the bloating going down. You can see where you are, as in how you fit in your clothes and how you look in the mirror. Because that weight number, no one's looking at that. No one cares what size number you are. You could be 500 pounds in the number, but it's how you look, it's how you feel. Because especially since they say that, you know, for those who work out a lot, that muscle weighs more than fat. And I have no muscle, so let's just add to that. So that wraps up most of the definitions, and I apologize if this was a little boring on this one, but I wanted to kind of break down all the terms you're going to hear in this diet, because I feel like people don't understand certain keywords or certain things that they need to look into. And if there is something that I missed, please comment below. Let me know what I need to add. Maybe I'll do like a part 2 if it's necessary. And to kind of go over, you know, what are some staples that people need to follow when they're starting this out? What are keywords they need to look for? and what's going to help them understand when people are talking about certain products or things. So that way, I don't know, I'm kind of babbling on this one, but it helped me understand it when I'm looking online and trying to get references and trying to understand what certain things are used for, what's important, and what's going to work for me. So I hope that helped everybody. If you like this video, please like and subscribe so that way you'll know when my next videos come out. I try to do every Tuesday as much as possible. Sometimes they'll come later in the evening because it depends on life, as I am a stay-at-home mom with a daughter and I have to make sure that she is taken care of. So as those days go on, I hope you will follow me and enjoy what I do. If you follow me on Instagram, mostly, it just kind of gets added to my Twitter and Facebook. They're all together. I post pretty much every meal, every type of food that I consume. I try to take a picture of. I'm trying to add more recipes, certain things that I do around the house, leftovers, things that I have already or I've looked up on Pinterest to kind of get it. If I follow a recipe, I will link the recipe into the post, but if it is something I made, it's something I had around the house and I know how to make it, I will post the recipe itself. So I hope you will follow me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it taught you a lot about what certain keywords and things that come up into this lifestyle and helped you out in the future. I'll be doing a couple more reviews, as I've said. I'm excited to do those. I just got some amazing coffee and some psyllium husk I really want to try. So I hope you like this. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great week. Hope nobody else has had a sickness like I do. I've been hearing a lot about the flu, and it's not fun, and I'm glad that we are getting better here. So have a wonderful day, and keep noobing.